It's the last Sunday in the month of July. Good evening and thank you for joining us on News 360. I am Ayisha Yakubu.
And I am Crosby, Annan, and these are the headlines of our bulletin tonight.
360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
EcoBank.
Government reviews curfew in Bawku and its environs as it deploys troops to restore order whilst creating safe corridor for evacuating students amid renewed conflicts.
Also in the bulletin tonight, Ghana AIDS Commission raises alarm over increasing use of emergency contraceptives at the expense of protected sex.
Later, we'll bring you an interesting update on a story we aired last year. We'll tell you Matilda's journey from rejection to inspiration as she enrolls in school, chasing her dream of becoming a healthcare worker.
We'll bring you some international news before we go tonight as Jordan and UAE begin airdrops into Gaza after Israel announced series of aid measures.
The details of these and many more stories, including sports and entertainment, coming up over the next 1 hour. Remember, we're also live on DSTV channel 279. Stay with us.
Let's begin the bulletin from here. And government has taken steps in tackling the renewed unrest in Bawku, directing the Ghana Armed Forces to enforce curfews and maintain law and order in the area. According to a press statement issued by the presidency and signed by the Minister for Government Communications and spokesperson to the President Felix Kwashiorkor, the deployment of troops marks a shift from peacekeeping to peace enforcement, reflecting the urgency of the situation on the ground. The directive comes in the wake of recent killings and heightened tension in Bawku and nearby communities, which threaten to derail ongoing peace efforts and destabilize the region. Meanwhile, the Interior Minister, Muntaka Mohammed, on the advice of the Upper East Regional Security Council and by executive instrument, has reviewed the curfew hours for Bawku municipality and its environs in the Upper East region. The curfew hours starts from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. effective Sunday, July 27, 2025, until further notice. Now, the statement has also reinforced the total ban on all persons in the Bawku municipality and its environs from carrying arms, ammunition, or any offensive weapons, and any persons found with any arms or ammunition will be arrested and prosecuted. Well, still on the conflict, government says the curfew is intended to create an environment conducive for the evacuation of all students in various educational institutions in the affected areas, some of whom have been unfortunately targeted in the conflict. Well, retired Colonel Festus Abuaja is joining us for some more insight in this disturbing development. Thank you so much for joining us, Colonel. The government has shifted from peacekeeping to peace enforcement in Bawku. From your experience, tell us, what exactly does this shift entail on the ground, and how might it affect the dynamics of the conflict?
First of all, thanks for having me. To the best of my understanding of these doctrinal terms, what the task force was doing in Bawku has never been a peacekeeping operation. We are borrowing the term from the UN system. Now, when there is a peace to keep, either a ceasefire or a truce or cessation of hostilities,
right,
then you deploy peacekeeping forces, neutral from third countries, to go and monitor the ceasefire or truce or whatever. In this instance, since January 2023, nobody has established a peace in Bawku to be kept. So we're playing around with words moment that we deploy the military to stabilize the situation, to help to de-escalate the escalation that took place in January 2023. So I would wish that we use those kinds of applicable terms rather than playing around with peacekeeping and peace enforcement. Now, be that as it may, if I understand peace enforcement the same way the government statement has used it, then what is going to happen is that the government is going to expand the use of force, the threshold of the use of force. So the rules of engagement are going to be enhanced or increased, that the task force will be allowed room to use force. Already the curfews are being deepened, except that I'm a bit confused when the statement said from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. I don't see the technical, benefit of the curfew running from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
It's from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Well, then that is fine.
Right.
So that has also been enhanced. And then, of course, the intent is to disrupt the activities of these armed groups. But I see at play what we call in the industry spoilers. You don't expect even armed groups to go to secondary schools or technical schools and be killing innocent students who have nothing to do with the conflict. So I think we are seeing the emergence of spoilers, individuals or groups who want to ensure that there is no peace in Bawku to start with. Now, that will require that you impose a peace enforcement mechanism, which I'm using reservedly. And then, of course, the task force now needs to ensure that it controls and secures critical infrastructure, which it's been doing already. Conducting convoy escorts between Bolga and Bawku and Bawku and Bolga, and so on. Now, there are risks, and I want to believe that the government has analyzed the risk entailed in the use of force in an internal crisis. Invariably, even before this statement, a week or two ago, we saw how troops reacted when they came under fire and extended the response or escalated the response to include rampaging, in innocent civilian areas. Because the principle or the law of human rights pertains in peace and conflict, the first risk that the government is likely to face is the violation of human rights. Innocent people might end or get killed. Now, when this happens, the government will have to contend with the legitimacy of the task force that it has deployed. It will be seen by both sides, whichever side suffers casualties. We'll see the task force as taking sides.
Right. Let's backtrack a little and talk about the imposition of the curfew. From your experience, will the enforcement of curfews be enough to stabilize the situation, or should there be more integrated measures to mitigate the impact of this conflict? Briefly, sir.
A curfew is one of the integrated measures. A curfew basically restricts the freedoms that you and I have to move around freely. But because in the conflict area, movement is being used to perpetrate violence against other groups, that is why there has been an imposition on the use of motorbikes and so on, the wearing of smoke, for instance. So the imposition of the curfew and its extension restricts movement. But when you don't limit movement, then you allow free rein for people to move around with arms and ammunition.
Thank you.
And that will rather, worsen the situation.
Colonel Festus Abwaja, retired, is a security expert, sharing his thoughts on the development there. Let's do some other stories tonight.
Let's now bring you the story of Matilda. When the news team first met Matilda Mankwa in September last year, she had an ambition to become a healthcare professional. But there was a challenge. She was born without hands and had one leg, with schools refusing to enroll her. 10 months on, Matilda is now in school and has a new leg. Portia Gabo tells the story of Matilda's happy ending.
On September 15, 2024, TV3 News broadcast the news story of Matilda Mankwa from Patapom in the Western region. Although she was born without hands and only one leg, 9-year-old Matilda was determined to brave the odds and lead an independent life. But several schools refused to enroll her due to her disability. The Orthopedic Training Center at Nsawam in the Eastern region came to her aid. Today, Matilda's life has transformed. She no longer hops around. She now walks thanks to prosthetic legs. The Orthopedic Training Center enrolled her at the McJaden International School, where she's enjoying an education.
Hello, Matilda. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm fine.
You are fine. What are you doing?
I'm drawing.
You are drawing. Okay. It's nice, eh? Continue drawing.
Just two from sleep, okay?
Most importantly, she has learned to write and draw.
Matilda had never been to school since she came. She came here with her mother for assessment for prosthetic needs. I think we saw her story on your page, and she came here, so we decided to support her. The reason why we did was anytime our kids were going to school, she would also pick a school bag and decide to join the kids to sit in the bus. And that was what really cautioned us to ask her if she's ever been to school, and she had never been to school. Reason being, most of the schools that her mother sent her to, they said because of her disability, they would not be able to pick her up in there. And then we decided to make a difference in her life, so we sent her to school. And lo and behold, she's doing excellent. I mean, I can't believe how she's able to write with her hands. Her handwriting looks better than mine, actually. That's why Matilda is here as well.
From Patapom in the Western region to Nsawam in the Eastern region, Matilda's story has been a journey of resilience. Today, she's hopeful her dream of becoming a healthcare professional will materialize. This is Matilda's happy ending. Portia Gabo, TV3 News, Nsawam, Eastern region.
Well, Matilda is not alone. When 9-year-old Crosby was born without a tibia in both lower legs, his mother was told it will be impossible for him to stand or to walk. Then he underwent double amputation, which left his mother distraught, as she knew he would be ridiculed and rejected by society. Today, Crosby has experienced a different kind of miracle at the Orthopedic Training Center at Nsawam in the Eastern region, and now he stands tall. Portia Gabo reports.
Hello, my name is Crosby Newman Ebenezer. I am a boy. My hobbies are playing with puppies and playing with dogs and swimming and watching tablets and reading. What makes me unique is my legs. I love my legs because I can stand on it. I love my leg too because it takes me everywhere. I love my legs because I'm the only one I can remove my legs and put them back. I don't like liars, and I don't like singing, and I don't like liars. And I don't like people who are laughing at me.
Not all miracles are obvious. For some, it's the courage to walk again after a double amputation with prosthetics. That is the story of Crosby. On November 22, Crosby was born without the tibia in both lower legs. His aunt asked his mother, "What have you delivered?" This question left her distraught because she knew her son would be ridiculed. With consultation at the Orthopedic Training Center at Nsawam in the Eastern Region, doctors decided on a double amputation. When his mother saw Crosby after the procedure, she broke down in tears. The double amputation was not the end for Crosby. Today, he's a pupil at McJaden International School at Nsawam, practicing an inclusive education where he learns with pupils who look like him and those who don't.
What do you want to be in future?
A veterinarian.
A veterinarian? Wow, why?
Because I love animals.
Which animals do you love?
Dogs.
Dogs, okay. Just dogs. Okay, all the best there.
After he was born, his mother went through a series of, I would say, depression and probably anxiety because she didn't know what to do. And a good doctor that helped deliver Crosby brought Crosby to us because he knew us. And we took Crosby in, and Crosby has been with us since then. Crosby has been a very zealous gentleman, or young boy, if I should put it, who really strives for the best. He's never known his father before, and he's always ready to champion any challenges that he faces. And we always say Crosby is like an ambassador of the OTC because he's a perfect example of who we are.
He enjoys playing football with pupils from the Orthopedic Training Center. Here, there's no difference, no discrimination, and no stigma. Just children showing what they can do with their skills.
I don't want him to limit himself because of his physical challenge. And with that, he's able to move freely. He's always there when you lead him. He always participates in certain things that other students can do.
His mother, who now sells popcorn at the center to earn income, cannot believe her son's transformation. Since we came here, he's been educated. They've taken good care of him, his clothing, everything. My son now looks handsome. When I see him, I am now happy.
That she will be in when I'm for. I'm a me.
Why? And that's all why.
Indeed, Crosby is a walking miracle and enjoys his new legs. It's important for parents of children with special needs to accept and love them. If you need the definition of a miracle, just watch Crosby. He's still standing tall when he was told it was impossible. Portia Gabo, TV3 News, in Nsawam.
For all the best to Crosby, Matilda, and the rest of their friends. Now, in Ghana's crowded classrooms, intelligence is often measured by how fast you read or how well you write. For thousands of children, the letters don't stay still. The words don't make sense. And instead of help, they are handed labels like lazy or slow. Inyonam Haliga takes a look at dyslexia.
Every child deserves the chance to read, write, and thrive in school. But for some children, the words on the page do not come alive. They slip, slide, and vanish. James is one of the many Ghanaian children living with dyslexia, a learning difference that makes reading and writing harder, even though intelligence is not affected.
Yeah, but people call it a disability.
Do you think it's a disability?
No, it's just a different way of learning. Like, I'm really tired of people treating me like that. Like, kids with dyslexia have hard times making friends.
Across the country, most teachers have never been trained to recognize dyslexia. Many children go undiagnosed, misunderstood, or mislabeled.
The one key word to approaching a kid with dyslexia is patience. You have to be patient with a child with dyslexia because they are not running on the same pace as the other kids.
But what really is dyslexia? Dyslexia is a neurological condition that affects the brain's ability to process language. It can cause difficulties with spelling, reading, and comprehension, but this is not a reflection of a child's intelligence. Globally, studies estimate that 5% to 20% of people are affected by dyslexia, depending on definitions and methods used.
Before you can say somebody has dyslexia, the individual must meet 4 criteria based on the manual that we use in diagnosing. So the person must have a learning difficulty and problems using academic skills in 3 areas. And these problems, I will describe it soon, must persist for at least 6 months, and they should also be present even after the person has been given support. The whole idea is that, you see, when you see words, you must decode the word. You must decode the letters that make up the words in order to understand the word itself before you can read it. Because these individuals have a problem, usually it is a neurological problem that affects how they process language.
Dyslexia does not disappear after school, and the impact does not end with childhood. Many dyslexic children grow into adult, still misunderstood, this time in the corporate environment. Struggling as early as 9 years, Rosalind feared for her future.
Up to the age, if my mind serves me correct, I think this was around the age of 9 when it was Christmas time and my cousin has come from Accra to visit us, and these guys brought some books and they called me that I should read a page because all of them were reading. And so when they handed me the book, I really couldn't see anything in it. I couldn't read to them. And they started making fun of me. And that was where I realized that something is wrong. I can't read. The reality really hit me once they came to visit and all these brilliant kids were reading and I couldn't read.
While Ghana's education policy mentions inclusive learning, in practice, few public schools have the training or tools to support children with learning differences like dyslexia. But a few organizations are stepping in where children are screened and supported with phonics-based learning.
Of the international schools are doing well, but not all of them. But when it comes to majority of our schools, I see that there is a huge gap. Let's step back to training college. What are the teachers being taught before they come into schools that doesn't relate to dyslexia? But you would definitely find someone over there who is. So why are we not taking into consideration this? And we bring fantastic programs, but what I see we doing is we still boxing everybody together, thinking that if you come out with one solution, it's going to address all needs.
Back in the classroom, James is still learning, slowly, differently, but proudly. His dad says knowing what dyslexia is has changed everything.
It took us a time to identify what exactly was wrong with him. His reading and spelling difficulties was something we later picked up. And eventually when we realized it, we tried as much as possible to help him as we could as parents. The challenges of finding him a place to get his reading going and also make him fit well in the classroom were all challenges. But eventually, we realized that he wasn't the only child with such challenges.
But until dyslexia is seen, understood and supported, children with this condition will continue to suffer in silence. And Malika, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, the school system is meant to be a safe space, a place of learning, a place of growth and promise. But for many young girls in Ghana, it is also where predators circle. From teachers to local artisans, from commercial drivers to older students, men are taking advantage of teenage girls in the guise of love, in the guise of support or protection. And there's more in this report.
Every year, the cycle repeats. Schoolgirls, many under the age of 16, becoming pregnant, often by much older men. In many of these cases, it's not just a moral failure, it's a crime. Ghana's laws call it what it is: defilement. And under the Criminal Offences Act, it's a felony. But how often are the perpetrators punished? And why does justice seem so rare in these cases?
We cannot really reasonably argue that there are no substantive laws or there are no substantive guidelines that really guard some of these activities. However, it boils down to enforcement of same.
Every year, reports of basic school girls or teenagers getting pregnant surface. Prosecutions sometimes are inconsistent, and in many communities, silence is preferred over scandal.
It's a common phenomenon when some of these things happen. People tend to have a family gathering to be able to resolve the matter without necessarily getting the girl child involved or getting people who matter involved, especially when it comes to the legal framework.
These school-going girls are somewhat expected to be protected by the education system. But is that really the case? Educationist Kofi Asare believes the education service has made significant progress in addressing abuse within schools.
There's been a tremendous improvement in the way the education service continues to handle such cases. In the past, the penchant was to sweep most of these things under the carpet, mainly by teachers, because they didn't want to wash, quote-unquote, dirty linens in public. But we've gone past those days. These days, the service doesn't condone attempts to sweep sexual offenses in and around the school environment under the carpet.
But the challenge is compounded by deep-rooted cultural and religious norms, undermining legal protections.
The other one has to do with the cultural issues that we have. You realize that culture play a very critical role. People have come to accept the fact that that is how they want to live. You need to bring in a policy that will break that barrier. Until we get to that level, people will still be in their own corner to do things within the cultural practice or the religion or the traditional system that they find themselves in.
Well, the education system in Ghana does not operate in isolation. And until all institutions, from law enforcement to traditional to religious authorities, come together and speak with one voice, teenage girls in Ghana, they will continue to fall through the cracks. Noble, Crosby, Annan, TV3 News, Accra.
Meanwhile, the Ghana AIDS Commission is raising the alarm over the increasing use of emergency contraceptives at the expense of protected sex. As a result, HIV/AIDS infection rate is climbing among the youth, with the latest figures showing that over 334,000 people are currently living with the disease in Ghana. Beatrice Soa has more in the following report.
The Ghana AIDS Commission has expressed growing concern over the spike in infections, highlighting a troubling upward trend compared to previous years. Data from 2024 shows that HIV prevalence remains highest among adults aged 15 to 49, with women mostly affected, accounting for 69% of new infections. Last year alone saw 15,000 new cases. Officials say a major factor behind the surge is the increasing use of emergency contraceptives as a substitute for condom use, especially among the youth.
Prefer to think about fear of pregnancy than fear of the infections. They see pregnancy as the risk of sex, not sexual transmitted disease. So you can see the use of emergency contraceptive agents that is rising, but the preventive mechanism, safe sex mechanisms are going down.
In response, Ghanaians have shared varied views on condom use.
Condom is the youth because sometimes we use more oba and yama or oba is very happy.
Condom is not good for the youth. When we use it, the women are not happy.
See oba
HIV ni de ha adwene pa nanka.
The way AIDS is spreading, it is not good. People need to start using condom to stop the spread.
The
youth of today do not listen. They say when they use condom, they don't feel it. Parents should advise their children to use the condom. The indecent dressing also contributes to sexual activities among the youth. Government should censor the dressing of women.
Because
fornication is on the rise. Children of today do not take advice. When we use the condom, we don't enjoy it. So if they can do something about it, fine. Because of the lack of jobs, the girls keep hopping from one place to another, and it is contributing to the spread.
Technical Director of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Nana Poku, cautioned that frequent use of emergency contraceptives can lead to long-term health issues.
When they do a risky behavior, they go taking emergency pill. Emergency pill is good. It has its own good sides, but it doesn't cover everything. You end up having other STI. You don't get pregnant, but you can catch gonorrhea, you can catch syphilis, you can catch HIV. You might not even understand how it is so, and some people will start blaming their grandmothers who has lost some teeth in the villages as the cause of their infertility.
To tackle the crisis, the Commission is rolling out new initiatives aimed at boosting public awareness.
We've had discussions with the National Health Insurance Authority so that the cost of burden of care can also be absorbed.
Aimed at boosting public awareness.
We've had discussions with the National Health Insurance Authority so that the cost of burden of care can also be